Hello, I'm Dr. David Morgan, and welcome back. What if the joint pain you wake up with every morning, the tiredness that never goes away, the belly that's getting bigger no matter what you eat, and the memory that just doesn't feel as sharp as it used to? What if none of those things were signs of getting old? What if they were all signs of one hidden process happening deep inside your body, right now, that almost no one is talking about? And what if there was one single food, sitting quietly in grocery stores all across the country, that could slow that process down, calm the fire inside your cells, and actually help your body start to feel younger from the inside out? Stay with me, because what you're about to hear changes everything. Most people believe that getting older just means falling apart. You turn 55, 60, 65, and you just accept that your knees will hurt, your energy will drop, your digestion will get worse, and your mind will slow down. Doctors often reinforce this. They say, well, at your age, this is normal. And so millions of people walk out of offices feeling helpless. They take more pills. They rest more. They do less. And somehow, they get worse. Here's what most people don't realize. Aging itself is not the problem. The real problem, the one hiding underneath all of those symptoms, has a name. It's called chronic inflammation. And once you understand what it is, what it does to your body after 50, and how one specific food can fight it every single day, everything begins to make sense. Let me explain what inflammation actually is, because most people misunderstand it completely. When you cut your finger, your body sends a rush of chemicals to that area. The skin turns red, it swells, it feels warm. That's inflammation, and it's a good thing. It's your immune system doing its job. It's healing you. The problem starts when that same process doesn't turn off. Imagine your immune system as a fire brigade. Normally, they rush in, put out the fire, and go home. But in millions of older adults, that fire brigade never leaves. They keep spraying water, day after day, week after week, month after month. And here's the chilling part. You often can't feel it happening. This is what scientists now call silent inflammation, or sometimes they call it inflammaging, a combination of the words inflammation and aging. And research from the past 2 decades has connected this low-grade, invisible, never-ending fire inside the body to almost every major disease of aging. Heart disease, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, arthritis, even certain cancers. This is where the hidden damage begins. But why does it get so much worse after 50 or 60? This is the part most people have never been told. When you're young, your body has incredible built-in systems to control inflammation. Your hormones, especially hormones like estrogen and testosterone, actually help regulate the immune response. They act like a thermostat. They keep the fire from burning too hot. But as you age, those hormone levels drop. The thermostat breaks, and the immune system starts behaving erratically. At the same time, your gut, which is where roughly 70% of your immune system actually lives, starts to change. The lining of your intestines becomes thinner and more permeable. Tiny particles from food, bacteria, and toxins that should stay inside your gut start leaking into your bloodstream. Your immune system sees those particles and panics. It launches an attack, again and again, every day, without stopping. This is what scientists call leaky gut, and it is one of the single biggest drivers of chronic inflammation in adults over 50. Then there's another factor, your fat cells. As we age, many people gain fat, especially around the belly. And here's what most people don't know. Fat tissue is not just storage. Fat cells are biologically active. They produce their own inflammatory chemicals called cytokines. So the more belly fat you carry, the more inflammation your own body generates, all on its own, even while you sleep. And then add to that the changes in your circulation. Blood flow slows slightly with age. The walls of your blood vessels become stiffer. Inflammatory particles circulate for longer before being cleared. The damage accumulates. Your joints, your brain, your arteries, your organs, they are all sitting in that slow-burning fire. What happens next surprises most people. Because this fire doesn't just cause pain, it literally speeds up how fast your cells age. Inside every cell in your body, there are tiny structures called telomeres. Think of them like the plastic tips on the end of a shoelace. They protect your DNA. Every time a cell divides, those telomeres get a little shorter. When they get too short, the cell stops working properly or dies. This is biological aging at the cellular level. And chronic inflammation, that slow-burning fire, accelerates telomere shortening. It ages your cells faster than the calendar ages your body. This is why 2 people can be the same age and look, feel, and function so differently. One person has kept their inflammation low, the other hasn't, and the difference can be dramatic. But here's the most important thing I want you to hear today. Inflammation is not a one-way street. You have more control over it than your doctor may have ever told you. Let me tell you about Margaret. Margaret is 67 years old. She spent most of her 60s in what she described as a fog. Her knees ached every morning when she got out of bed. She had a kind of bone-deep tiredness that coffee couldn't touch. Her digestion had been off for years. Bloating, discomfort, unpredictable. And her memory, she said, just wasn't what it used to be. She'd been to multiple doctors. Her blood work always came back normal. She was told it was just age. She was told to manage her stress. She was given a pamphlet about exercise. And she went home feeling invisible. Margaret didn't have a dramatic disease. She had inflammation. Low, slow, silent inflammation. And it was stealing her quality of life one day at a time. Then someone in her life, a nephew who had been reading about nutrition, mentioned one specific food, and Margaret, skeptical but desperate, decided to try it. Within 3 weeks, she noticed something. She woke up one morning and her knees didn't hurt immediately. She thought she'd imagined it. But the next morning, same thing. And the morning after that, her digestion started to settle. The bloating reduced. Her energy, still not perfect, but noticeably better. By the second month, her brain felt clearer. She started doing things she'd stopped doing. She started showing up for her life again. Now Margaret will be the first to tell you. She didn't change everything. She didn't start a brutal exercise program. She didn't give up everything she loved to eat. She added one food, consistently, every single day, and her body responded. Before I tell you exactly what this food is, let me give you a simple way to know whether inflammation might be quietly running in your own body right now. Here's the test. It's not a blood test. You don't need a lab. You just need honesty with yourself. Ask yourself these questions. Do you wake up with stiffness in your joints that takes more than 30 minutes to ease up? Do you carry extra weight around your belly, even if the rest of your body is relatively slim? Do you feel mentally foggy in the afternoons? Not tired exactly, just not sharp? Do you have any kind of skin issue that comes and goes? Rashes, redness, puffiness around the eyes, patches of irritation? Do you get bloated regularly after eating? Does your digestion feel slow, uncomfortable, or unpredictable? Do you get sick more often than you used to? Or does it take longer to recover when you do? Do you have trouble sleeping deeply? You fall asleep but wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning with a racing mind? If you said yes to 3 or more of those questions, your body is trying to warn you. That is the pattern of a body dealing with chronic systemic inflammation. And here is what I want you to understand. These are not random. They are not just part of aging. They are connected. They share a root cause. And when you address the root cause, multiple things start to improve at the same time. So what is this one food? It's ginger. Now before you close this video because you've heard of ginger before, please stay. Because what most people know about ginger is just the surface. The real story of what this root does inside an aging body is something completely different. And the way to use it to get maximum benefit is not what most people think. Ginger, the root, not the candy, not the synthetic flavoring, contains a family of compounds called gingerols and shogals. These are the active molecules that give ginger its distinctive heat and flavor, and they are some of the most powerful natural anti-inflammatory agents that researchers have studied in the past 30 years. Here's what most people don't realize. These compounds work in a way that is remarkably similar to certain anti-inflammatory medications, but without the side effects that those medications carry, including the risk to your stomach lining, your liver, and your kidneys that can come with long-term drug use. Gingerols and shogals work by blocking specific chemical messengers in the body called prostaglandins and leukotrienes. Those are the signaling molecules that tell your immune system to stay inflamed. Block those signals, and the fire begins to cool. But ginger does something else that almost no one talks about. Remember the leaky gut problem I mentioned? The thin, permeable intestinal lining that allows particles to escape into the bloodstream and trigger immune chaos? Ginger actively works to repair and strengthen that intestinal lining. It stimulates the production of mucin, the protective mucus layer that coats the gut wall. It supports the growth of beneficial bacteria that help maintain gut barrier integrity. And it reduces inflammation in the gut itself, which means fewer inflammatory signals escaping into your body. This is why so many people who begin eating ginger regularly notice digestive improvements first. The bloating eases. The discomfort after meals starts to settle. Because the source of the immune chaos, the leaky gut, is beginning to heal. And as the gut heals, the whole body starts to calm down. But there's more. And this part is especially important for anyone over 60. Ginger has been shown in multiple studies to reduce a specific inflammatory marker called C-reactive protein, or CRP. This is one of the markers that doctors can measure in your blood to gauge the level of inflammation in your body. High CRP has been associated with increased risk of heart disease, cognitive decline, and all-cause mortality. It's one of the most important numbers no one talks about at their annual physical. Ginger consistently and measurably brings CRP down. Not overnight, not dramatically in a week, but steadily and significantly over weeks and months of regular use. At the same time, ginger improves circulation. It has natural blood-thinning properties that help blood flow more easily through blood vessels, including the tiny capillaries that feed your brain, your joints, and your organs. Better blood flow means better oxygen delivery. Better oxygen delivery means cells function better, repair faster, and age more slowly. This changes everything when you think about what most people in their 60s and 70s are experiencing: reduced circulation, stiffening blood vessels, declining organ function. Ginger works directly against all of those processes. And then there's the brain connection. This is where things get truly remarkable. The brain has its own immune cells called microglia. Their job is to detect threats and protect the brain. But in aging, microglia can become overactivated. They start firing off inflammatory signals even when there's no real threat. This neuroinflammation is now believed to be one of the primary drivers of cognitive decline, brain fog, and even conditions like Alzheimer's. The gingerol compounds in ginger can cross the blood-brain barrier, the protective wall between your bloodstream and your brain. Once inside, they help quiet overactivated microglia. They reduce neuroinflammation, and they protect existing neurons from oxidative damage. This is why many people who add ginger to their daily routine report something they don't expect. Their thinking feels clearer. Words come more easily. That afternoon fog lifts. They feel more present and mentally alert. It's not magic. It's biology. And the biology makes complete sense once you understand the mechanism. Now let's talk about something else. Ginger does that directly affects how old your body feels every day. Muscle pain, joint pain, morning stiffness. One of the most common things people over 55 experience is delayed onset muscle soreness, that deep, heavy ache in the muscles after activity. Even mild activity, even a walk that used to feel effortless. Ginger has been studied specifically for this. Consistent daily consumption has been shown to reduce exercise-induced muscle pain significantly, not by numbing the pain, but by reducing the actual inflammatory response in the muscle tissue that causes the pain. This means that people who eat ginger regularly can move more because moving hurts less, and when they move more, they maintain more muscle mass, better balance, better circulation, better mood, and better metabolism. This is a cascading positive effect. One food, one mechanism, many benefits, all connected. And let's talk about insulin and blood sugar, because this connection rarely gets mentioned. Chronic inflammation and blood sugar problems are deeply intertwined. Inflammation impairs the ability of cells to respond to insulin, the hormone that moves sugar from your blood into your cells for energy. This is called insulin resistance. And in adults over 50, it is extremely common. When cells become resistant to insulin, blood sugar stays elevated. And elevated blood sugar generates more inflammation. It's a vicious cycle. Inflammation causes insulin resistance. Insulin resistance causes more inflammation, and around it goes. Ginger breaks that cycle from multiple angles. It improves insulin sensitivity, meaning your cells start responding to insulin more effectively. It slows the rate at which sugar is absorbed from food into the bloodstream, preventing the sharp spikes that cause so much downstream damage, and it reduces the inflammatory signals that drive insulin resistance in the first place. This is why people who add ginger to their diet often find that their energy is more stable throughout the day. They don't crash after meals. They don't reach for sugar and caffeine in the afternoon. Their metabolism starts working more like it did when they were younger. So now let's talk about the most important part, exactly how to use ginger every day to get real results. Because here's the problem most people run into. They buy ginger tea from the store, it tastes pleasant, they feel virtuous, and nothing much happens. And that's because most commercial ginger teas contain very little actual ginger. They contain ginger flavoring. They are not the same thing. Or they buy ginger supplements, capsules you can find at any pharmacy. These can work, but quality varies enormously. And many people don't know the right dose or the right form. Here is the simplest, most effective approach I can share with you. The most powerful form of ginger is fresh ginger root. The actual knobby brown root you can find in the produce section of almost any grocery store. When ginger is raw and fresh, its gingerol content is at its highest. And when you heat it, some of those gingerols convert to shogals, which have their own unique anti-inflammatory properties. So both raw and cooked ginger offer benefits, but in slightly different ways. Here is a simple daily protocol that anyone can follow. Every morning, take a piece of fresh ginger root about the size of your thumb. Peel it. The easiest way is to just scrape the skin off with a spoon. Then slice or grate it into a mug. Pour hot water over it. Not boiling, just very hot. Let it steep for 8 to 10 minutes. Then squeeze in half a lemon. You can add a small amount of raw honey if you need a little sweetness. Drink this as your first drink in the morning, before coffee, before anything else. This does something remarkable. It wakes up your digestive system gently, begins sending anti-inflammatory signals before you've even had breakfast, and sets the tone for your body's chemistry for the rest of the day. The lemon adds vitamin C, which works synergistically with ginger. The honey adds a small dose of antimicrobial and prebiotic compounds. This is your morning anchor, and it takes less than 5 minutes to make. Now, throughout the day, try to incorporate ginger into your actual food as well. When you cook chicken, fish, or vegetables, add freshly grated ginger. It pairs beautifully with garlic and olive oil. A simple stir-fry with these 3 ingredients is one of the most anti-inflammatory meals you can make. If you make soups or stews, add ginger. It deepens the flavor and dramatically increases the nutritional power of the dish. If you make smoothies, a small piece of fresh ginger blended in changes the character of the smoothie and adds genuine medicinal benefit. If you eat yogurt in the morning, grate a small amount of fresh ginger over it. Combine it with turmeric and a crack of black pepper for an even more powerful anti-inflammatory effect. These 3 ingredients work together. The compounds in each one enhance the others. The goal is consistency, not quantity. A small amount of ginger every single day will do far more than a large amount occasionally. This is how the body heals, not in one dramatic moment, but in quiet, steady, daily progress. Now let me talk about timing, because knowing what to expect keeps you from giving up too soon. In the first week, you may notice very little. Or you may notice subtle things: slightly better digestion, less bloating after dinner, a morning that feels just slightly more comfortable than usual. Don't dismiss these. They are early signs that your body is responding. By the end of the 2nd and 3rd week, many people notice more pronounced changes. The morning stiffness that used to last an hour starts clearing up in 20 or 30 minutes. The afternoon energy crash starts to soften. Sleep may begin to deepen, because when the body's inflammatory burden decreases, the nervous system naturally calms, and sleep quality often improves. By the end of the 1st month, most people who are consistent report something that surprises them. They feel it not in one specific area, but overall. A kind of general lightness. A sense that their body is not fighting them as much, that their joints and their mind and their digestion are all moving in the same direction, the right direction. By 2 to 3 months, the changes become hard to deny. Energy that feels genuinely different, fewer aches, sharper thinking, clothes fitting differently around the midsection, a feeling that people around them notice, because inflammation changes how you look as well. The puffiness in the face, the dullness of the skin, the tired eyes. These things begin to change too. And let's talk about sleep for a moment, because this is crucial. Chronic inflammation disrupts sleep, and poor sleep generates more inflammation. It's another one of those vicious cycles. While you sleep, your body does most of its repair work. It clears inflammatory waste products from the brain, it regenerates cell tissues, it resets hormonal systems. If your sleep is shallow or interrupted, none of that repair work happens fully, and you wake up more inflamed than when you went to bed. Ginger, by reducing that inflammatory load, can help break this cycle. But there's more you can do to support your sleep alongside ginger. Keep your sleeping room cool and as dark as possible. Have your last meal at least 2 to 3 hours before bed. Eating late keeps your digestive system working when it should be resting, and this disrupts sleep quality significantly. Avoid screens with blue light for at least an hour before sleep, and consider making a gentle warm ginger and honey drink about 30 minutes before bed. The warmth, the mild sedative properties of the honey, and the anti-inflammatory effect of the ginger work together to ease your nervous system into a more restful state. Now I want to be honest with you about something important, because I believe you deserve honesty more than you need hype. Ginger is not a cure. I want to be absolutely clear about that. No single food is a cure for any disease. If you have been diagnosed with a condition, heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, cognitive decline, cancer, or anything else, please do not stop your medications or your doctor-advised treatment because of anything you hear in this video. That would be dangerous. And it would be the wrong message to take from this. What ginger is one of the most well-studied, safe, and consistently beneficial additions to your daily diet that exists. It works with your body. It supports systems that are already there. It reduces something, chronic inflammation, that is unambiguously harmful and that most conventional medical care does not address at all. Think of it as one powerful piece of the puzzle, not the whole puzzle. If you are on blood thinners, medications like warfarin, speak to your doctor before significantly increasing your ginger intake, because ginger does have mild blood-thinning properties that could interact. This is a conversation worth having. If you are pregnant, check with your doctor. Small amounts of ginger are generally considered safe in pregnancy, but you want to be sure. For the vast majority of healthy adults over $50, ginger is one of the safest, most accessible, and most effective daily habits you can adopt. Let's also address what ginger works best alongside, because this is not about one food in isolation. It's about creating an internal environment that refuses to stay inflamed. The foods that drive inflammation most powerfully in aging adults are refined sugar, refined vegetable oils, the kind found in most processed and fried foods, refined white flour, alcohol in excess, and processed meats. You don't have to become a monk. You don't have to give up everything. But every time you reduce these foods and replace them with something that fights inflammation, you are accelerating the results you'll see from your daily ginger practice. Foods that fight inflammation alongside ginger: olive oil, especially cold-pressed extra virgin, fatty fish like salmon and sardines, dark leafy greens, spinach, kale, arugula, berries, especially blueberries and blackberries, walnuts, avocado, turmeric, garlic, green tea. When you build your daily eating around these foods, even without counting calories or obsessing over portions, your body shifts, the inflammatory chemicals decrease, the protective healing chemicals increase, and you begin to feel the difference in ways that are real and tangible and life-changing. I want to come back to something I said near the beginning of this video. The idea that how you feel at 60, 65, or 70 is just normal aging and there's nothing to be done. I want to challenge that idea one final time. The body has an extraordinary capacity to heal when you remove the things that are hurting it and add the things that support it. The science of the last 2 decades has made it clearer than ever that inflammation is not inevitable, that cellular aging can be slowed, that the fog and the pain and the tiredness that so many older adults accept as their fate are, at least in part, reversible. Not by some miracle drug, not by an expensive supplement, not by a punishing regimen that takes over your whole life, by small, consistent daily choices that change your body's chemistry, one day at a time. Ginger is one of those choices. Simple, inexpensive, available to almost everyone, and quietly, powerfully effective at doing exactly what your body needs most: turning down the fire. Think about Margaret again. She didn't discover some secret clinical trial. She didn't go on a 3-month spa retreat. She started her morning with fresh ginger tea. She started adding ginger to her cooking. She stayed consistent, and her body, which had been starved of the right signals for years, began to respond. Your body is not broken. It is not failing you. It is doing exactly what it was designed to do in the environment you've given it. Change the environment, even slightly, and the body changes with it. That is the most hopeful thing I can tell you, because it means you are not a passive observer of your own health. You are an active participant. Every meal is a signal. Every daily habit is a message to your cells, and your cells are listening. Start tomorrow morning. 1 piece of fresh ginger root the size of your thumb, hot water, a squeeze of lemon, 10 minutes of steeping. That's it. That's the beginning. Give it 30 days. Stay consistent, and pay attention to how your body responds, not just in one area, but everywhere. Your digestion, your joints, your energy, your thinking, your sleep, your mood. Because when you address the hidden cause, when you begin to cool the slow fire that's been burning inside, the effects are not isolated. They ripple outward, they compound, they build. And one morning, maybe 3 weeks from now, maybe 6 weeks from now, you'll wake up and feel something you hadn't expected, something you hadn't felt in years. You'll feel like yourself again. And that, more than anything, is worth 1 cup of ginger tea. If this video helped you understand something about your body that you hadn't considered before, share it with someone you love: an older parent, a close friend, a sibling who's been struggling, because this information deserves to reach people who need it. And if you want to learn more about how food and daily habits can address the hidden causes of how you feel, stay with this channel. There is so much more to share. Take care of yourself. Your body is worth it, and it is never too late to begin.